Hi everyone. So my name is Allison Bickle. I'm VP of Product at GiveSignup, RunSignup, TicketSignup. And today our topic is focused on event day tools for peer-to-peer fundraising events. So GiveSignup works with a lot of nonprofits, and we work with nonprofits for a variety of different events, everything from like a simple untimed walk to a really complex stair climb that has a bunch of corrals and complex team setups. And so today we're just going to go through a lot of different parts of event day. I'll just quickly get started. Who are we? GiveSignup. We are an event technology company. We build free and easy to use technology for nonprofit events so they can grow their events, they can make more money through donations, fundraising, registration fees, and they have different opportunities to engage their participants and fundraisers. And we work with about 28,000 events a year. We've helped customers raise nearly $2 billion over the last decade plus. We're actually about to hit $2 billion in March, so that's an exciting milestone for us. But today we are focused on peer-to-peer fundraising events and event day technology. So I've kind of organized this in different sections, and we'll go through each section. And I have my phone on this side of the screen. So when we get to the check-in parts and on-site registration, we'll actually be going through like a live demo of all of that. This is going to be recorded, so we will send you both the recording as well as the slides after this. For all these topics, we're going to go pretty lightweight on them, high-end or high-level overviews, and you'll be able to dig into each of these things in more depth with our additional content. So like I said, we're going to go through these in the context of like an actual peer-to-peer fundraising event. And so we're going to be using this demo event called the Dog Jog. And I like this one because we have a mix of a timed 5K run and an untimed 1 mile walk and a virtual event option. I'm not going to go super heavy on the virtual event just because we've got a ton of virtual event content out there for you to leverage. But going through both a timed example and an untimed example with the check-in app is going to be really helpful for us today. So to start, we're going to go through pre-event communications. And two of the big things I think are really important to do ahead of your event are to schedule a pre-event email and to add an FAQ page to your website. So the pre-event email is an important piece of communication to send to your participants and fundraisers. And using GiveSignup's free email marketing makes this really easy to do because we are able to automatically include information about your participants and registrants. So some of the important things to include in this pre-event email include just basic logistical information, like when is the event happening? Somebody might have signed up for it a few months ago, so include all those like pertinent event details. Another important thing is to include the registration QR code, and we'll show you when we're demoing the check-in app why this is a really useful piece of data to show. The QR code is shown here, and it represents my registration. So all my information about me is going to be linked to this QR code that's in this email that I have, making it even faster and easier to scan people in and check them into your event. One of the nice things about our email marketing is that it actually includes fundraiser data. And so you can email fundraisers and give them an update on their progress leading up to the event day. So data elements like the amount that you've raised, the goal that you've set, a link to the fundraisers page so that they can more easily share and go back and reference that. You've got that capability to send people that reminder leading up to the event when there's a bit more energy and a push to meet those fundraising goals and to ask people for donations. An email can only be so long. And so you're not going to be able to include necessarily every single piece of information or question that could be asked about your event. And one of the really nice things that we give you when you set up your peer-to-peer fundraising event on GiveSignup is you get a full website. And so I recommend that events take the time to build out a page and add it to their website that's like an FAQ page. And your FAQ can be as big or as small as you want it to be, but those frequently asked questions that people are confused about, like where can I park? Does it cost money to park? What happens if it rains? You know, all these different things. Can I walk the 5K? Do I have to run? You can add those questions to this page and reference it so that you aren't having to respond and create new content to answer every single question one of your fundraisers or participants might have. You can refer them to this page, and you can include a link to this FAQ page in that pre-event email so that people can kind of go through those commonly asked questions. So next we're going to talk about the check-in app. This is one of the favorite features of our platform because it makes your event day so easy. And we're going to go through it first in terms of checking in your participants, and then we'll go through it with checking in your volunteers. So the first thing that you're going to do with the check-in app is you're going to download it onto your device. And so if you have devices that you want your volunteers to use at your event, you can download it onto those devices. The check-in app is compatible with any Apple or Android device. It's also going to work on like a Google Chromebook. And if your volunteers are going to be using their own phones, which I typically recommend because you have more ease with your own device, you'll be able to tell your volunteers to search for the Race Day Check-in app and to download it. It's free, it's easy to download, and easy to use. Next, you're going to come to a page in your dashboard. You're going to search for Check-in app, and you're going to enable the Check-in app for your event. And what this means is that it's giving us permission to put your event into the Check-in app so that you're able to use the Check-in app. And you're going to protect it with a password so that only you and the people that you give the password to are able to access your race. And we make sure that password is secure, so you can't just use the word password as your password. And then once you have downloaded the app and you have enabled the check-in app from your dashboard, we're going to go over to my phone, and what you're going to be able to do is search for your event's name. And so Dog Jog is apparently a popular name, but this one is mine. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in that password that I have set in my dashboard right here. And I'm going to click login, and what that's doing is it's pulling down all the information of people who have signed up for my event. So I've got all of my data on my participants that are here. So we have successfully downloaded the check-in app, and we've been able to access our event on it. So by default, you can just start checking people in. But one of the things that is really nice about the check-in app is that you can configure it to work for your event. And there are two different things that you can do. So what we're going to do is click the settings button in the top right corner, and this is going to let you do some configurations so that you can make sure that the app is working for your event. There's two different things that you can configure. The first is going to be presets. And presets lets you control what sort of information you're able to see when you're pulling up a participant record. It's going to control what options you're able to do, such as like assign bibs, whether you're able to update the information associated with that registration. For example, allowing somebody to switch from the 5K to the 1 mile walk. And do all that type of stuff. And then configurations are going to let us decide which presets we're going to apply to different events. It's also going to give us some display options and let us hide different events that we don't want to be showing on the check-in app. So the easiest way to go through this is that we just actually dive in and start doing it. So we're going to start by creating a preset first. And so I wrote some little notes for myself on the side just so I don't get like too distracted by this. But we're going to first create a preset for our 5K event. And in the 5K, we said that this is going to be a timed event. So one of the things that we want to make sure we're doing is that we are assigning a bib number to everyone who's checking in for the 5K, because that's going to give our timer the information that they need to successfully time that person. So we're going to say bib number is required. I'm going to skip the group bib number because we are not doing that for this event, but I am going to require a waiver. And so this means that if I signed up a bunch of people and they haven't signed their own individual waivers, they'll be required to sign it, and they'll be able to do that within the check-in app so that you are collecting all the waivers for people on site if they didn't happen to register themselves and get that signed when they were signing up. The other really nice functionality with presets is that you can automatically pull up related registrations. And so what this means is, like, if I sign up my family and I sign up 4 people in the same transaction, when somebody pulls up my registration, it's automatically going to ask them if they want to check in the other people that I signed up with, because they know that we're together and that I can take their bib and everything. So this is an optional setting, but it's a really nice one for convenience. And for peer-to-peer fundraising events, one of the things that some of our events do, especially if they're like larger events, is that they'll have a fundraiser team captain packet pickup. So the fundraiser team captains will come to the packet pickup and they will get all the bibs and t-shirts and all that stuff for everyone who's on their team. And so one of the nice things that you can do is automatically pull up all the people who are on the same fundraising team when you check in that team captain. So it's just the app trying to make things as smooth and easy as possible for your peer-to-peer fundraising event. So next, we're going to go into what information we're going to display when we pull up a registration. And so I think obviously we're going to be showing their name, which event they're signed up for, and whether or not they've been checked in. So those are default settings and we can't change them. For the 5K, we do want to show the bib number, right? Because that is something we want to assign to them. The other thing I do want to show are fundraiser details. And we'll get to see this when we do some demos, but the fundraiser details are going to pull in important fundraising information, like how much a person raised, how much of their goal that they've achieved for their fundraising goal. And it's also going to pull in the name of their fundraising team. And I really like this feature because if you have volunteers that are working at packet pickup, they're actually able to kind of personalize that packet pickup experience a little bit more. And they can say, oh, wow, thanks, you raised over $100, and just congratulate that person. So it's a really, really nice piece of information to be able to show on the check-in app and just add that personalized touch on event day. You can kind of scroll through the rest of this, and depending on what sort of event you're doing, you may or may not want to include these additional fields. But for the purpose of our event, I think this is probably sufficient. We are doing a giveaway t-shirt, so we want to show the size of that. And then the word leash here is selected because this is a dog jog, and I decided to sell leashes as an add-on to registration. So when you're signing up, you can buy a leash. And so this is going to show me whether or not people purchased a leash when they signed up. The next thing that we're going to be able to customize are the changes that I'm able to make when people are checking in. And so by default, I have this checked to allow uncheck-ins. That means if I make a mistake, I can uncheck in somebody. So I check them in, I can say, no, that was a mistake, I'm going to check them out. One of the things that I think is really nice when you have different events at the same race or event that you're doing, like you have different distance options or something, I think allowing event transfers is really nice. And in this case, if somebody paid the money to do the timed 5K and they're not ready to do the 5K, they want to switch to the mile, I can actually do that within the check-in app. So I'm going to check, let's allow people to transfer down to the mile. Preserving bib, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to get bibs for the mile. But one of the other things I do want to do is I want to allow giveaway edits. That means if somebody wants to change their shirt from a size large to a size medium because it looks big, I'll be able to do that in the app. And then you can also allow personal info edits, like my name changed or something. So you can go through those different options and select the ones that work for you. But I think that these settings are probably pretty good for a 5K. So I'm going to click Save at the top. And you get options to just add this preset to like your individual phone, which means local. And then sync means I'm adding this preset for everybody who is going to be using the Dog Jog check-in app. So like my volunteers are going to be able to have that 5K preset when they go to their check-in app. So we're going to quickly add one more preset for the mile, and I'm going to do this a little bit differently because I think like some events are not timed, like peer-to-peer fundraising events aren't timed, and so you don't need to be showing all this bib number stuff. Like you can just skip that. But I do want to require waivers and do the related registrations, and I also want to show fundraiser details. So we're going to keep this pretty similar. In terms of information changes, I'm actually not going to allow people to change their event from the 1 mile to the 5K because you would have had to pay more for the 5K. But if you want to allow event transfers on site for a lower distance event to a higher distance event that's more expensive, you could check that. But let's save that, and then we'll sync that. And so we've created the 5K and the mile as presets, and anyone can use them. So that was for the mile, but let's go ahead and let's create a configuration. So configurations allow us to apply those presets to different event types. So I'm just going to call this fundraising. And we are going to say that the 5K is going to use the settings we decided to use for the 5K, and the 1 mile is going to use the 1 mile settings. In my event, I also have a virtual catnap option, which is very creative. But this is a virtual event, and so they're not actually going to be checking in because that's happening outside of my event. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hide people that signed up for the virtual catnap because I don't need them in my check-in app on event day. So it just keeps things a little bit clearer. And then you have different options to select when you are checking people in. And a lot of these are just going to be display, so you can kind of toggle around like what works best for your event based on how your process is working. And I always recommend like setting this up and kind of doing a couple of test check-ins ahead of time to make sure that things look good and that you're happy with it. I think a couple of them that are useful are being able to hide checked-in participants. So that means that once somebody's checked in, they're not going to show in that list of participants that we saw when we first used this. The other thing that's really, really useful, if you have bibs for your event and the bibs have a QR code on them, you can automatically show the camera to assign bibs. And that means that you are scanning that QR code rather than manually typing in that bib. So those are really, really nice settings to be able to have. But for this, we'll just keep it simple and we'll save this. And we're going to sync that, and we're automatically going to use that. So we're using the presets that we just created, and we've configured that properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into a demo of how it would actually work if you were checking somebody in. And so we have some people who are signed up for the event, and it's a mix of people signed up for the 1 mile and 5K. And so you can check people in 2 ways. So the first is that they come up to the check-in desk and they say, my name is Snape. So you would start typing in, and the check-in app would identify that participant. It kind of automatically is filtering that view, and then once it knows it's only narrowed down to this one person, it's going to pull that up. So that's one way that you're able to check people in, which is nice. The thing that is really nice, though, if you have like a high volume of people coming, is sending out this pre-event email. So this is our pre-event email that we set up earlier in the deck, and we sent it to people like right before the event starts. And that pre-event email contains like race day logistics, but it also contains information about packet pickup, and it uses that QR code. So that QR code is useful because you can actually tap this camera icon in the check-in app, and you're able to scan people's QR codes to check them in. So telling people like come with this email up on your phone, and you're just able to scan it really quickly. It's automatically pulling it up because it knows that this QR code is my registration. So we can look at my profile here, and we can go through checking me in. So you'll see here that I've got my fundraising data is showing here. So you can see right now that I've raised $100 out of $225. I'm not on a fundraising team, so you're not seeing that data right now. But we can just check me in for the 5K. And you'll see when I get checked in for the 5K, I'm asked to assign a bib number. I don't actually have bibs with me for this demo, so we're just going to make up that I'm bib number 145. And again, if you have that QR code for your bibs, you're able to scan that and automatically assign it to me. And it's pulling up my related registrations because I'm on a, I signed up with these people when I registered for the event. So that's very nice. But now I saved that, I'm continuing, I'm just checking myself in for now so we can dig in and show how it would work to change somebody's event. So you'll see now I'm checked in and that's good. Let's pull up this one and just go through changing an event. So let's say Hermione wants to change to the 1 mile. We can change her and that's been successful. And we can say check her in or don't check her in. We'll check her in and say save and continue. And now Hermione's been updated to be in the 1 mile and she's checked in for that. So the check-in app is designed to really work for whatever functionalities you want to give to your participants to give them the best experience on event day. I think that option to change your event and quickly, you know, be able to make that happen on site is really powerful, and I think people will really appreciate that. So that's kind of a quick overview of functionality of checking people in. So we've got the camera to make it go really fast and check people in at a high rate. We're able to assign bibs if we're doing a timed event. We're able to change people's events from one to another event. And we're also able to uncheck people in. So if we don't want that to happen, then we can say, no, they haven't been checked in. And now we're able to check them in and collect the waiver and checked in. So the check-in app is just really powerful and it can do a lot. So I have set this up where I'm able to check people in. I'm also able to go here and I can edit like which information changes I'm able to make. I can choose to see more information. Like I've got a lot of power to set things up in this check-in app. And when you think about your event, you're going to have like a lot of volunteers that may have their own devices and are using this phone, and you don't want them to be able to change things. So like that example we just went through where we unchecked somebody in, you might not want everyone to have that functionality. And one of the nice things that you can do is you can create different configurations like volunteer and add less options to it. And then once you have this check-in app set up on your volunteer's phone and you have the settings and permissions you want them to be able to do at the event, what you can do is you can actually lock their phone so that they can't update different settings or see more information. And so this is really useful for volunteers, but basically what you'll do is you'll click lock race once you have your volunteer's phone configured to the right preset and configuration that gives them the functionality you want them to have. And basically what you're going to do is set a password. And if you don't want them to see like how many people have signed up for your event, you can hide all the stats and you can click lock. And what this does is it doesn't let me access these settings. So you'll see I have a warning here, and I'm not able to update like my permissions at all. The other thing is I'm not able to see the stats for how many people have been checked in. I'm set and locked to like only do what I've been given permission to do. So that's really nice for volunteers, and at any time you're able to unlock that phone just by re-entering that password that you entered to lock it. Check-in stats, you're able to view how many people you've checked in real time. There is really advanced reporting in your dashboard for your event. That's the screenshot that you see on this laptop computer. So you're going to be able to go in and like refresh that screen to like see how many people you've checked in. You can download reports of who's been checked in and like see that timestamp and everything. So you've got a ton of metrics to look at in terms of check-in stats. You're also able to monitor this from the check-in app. So you'll see here there's an option for check-in stats, and it just keeps our progress in real time, and you can see overall, and then you'll also see stats per event. So you've got your information on like how check-in is going, detailed in your dashboard from your event, and then a quick overview directly within the check-in app. So one of the really nice things about GiveSignup is we have an integrated volunteer platform. It lets you set up different tasks along with time slots for when you need volunteers. You can set minimum capacity, like I need at least 3 volunteers here and no more than 5. It lets people sign up for those different tasks and time slots. And then what we have added in the past year or two is a volunteer check-in app. So you're actually able to make sure that your volunteers were on site and that you check them in. So we're going to go through the event day portion of volunteers. I'm not going to go through how you set up volunteers or anything in this webinar. But I'm just going to cover the event day basics. Volunteer email, there is a very detailed communications tab within volunteers from your dashboard. We've also added volunteers as a recipient type to our next generation email marketing platform. And so you're able to email all of your volunteers, or you can email volunteers who signed up for a specific task. And you'll see here, I've got my tasks like packet pickup and finish line set up there. And it's important to email volunteers ahead of time. Again, like your participants, remind them that they signed up to do this, remind them what task they signed up to do, and include information about that task. So you're able to send them that email. The volunteer check-in app is kind of nice because if you want to make sure that people actually showed up and keep track of that, the volunteer check-in app makes that easy to do. It's the same app, so you don't have to download anything else. But you'll see here we have an option to switch to volunteer check-in. So I'm going to switch mode, and this is going to bring me into volunteer check-in mode. It's super lightweight. You also have the option to set presets. So it's pretty simple right now, but I basically want to see the name of the person and what they are going to be volunteering for. And then while people come to check in, I just am going to be able to see that Alyssa signed up and she's going to be on cleanup teardown duty, and I can check her in and then go back and I can continue to check people in. And you'll be able to see the data of check-ins from your dashboard. If you go to the volunteers report, there's a new column that shows the checked-in status, and there's also a timestamp of when they actually checked in to volunteer. So some of our events, they have volunteers that get credit, and so, or they get paid even for volunteering, and so making sure that they've got this timestamp data is important to them. And it just adds, like, you know, another level of sophistication that's actually super easy to use. Again, it's all in the same app, so it's simple. On-site registration. So with peer-to-peer fundraising events, we typically see people sign up well in advance, but we also see a lot of people that are signing up the week of and the day of. And they may not be able to raise as much money as your fundraisers who have been soliciting donations for the last couple of months, but it's nice to get increased participation and give people good experiences and just get people signed up if you have the capacity to handle them at your event. And so GiveSignup has a number of ways you can handle people coming to the event and signing up the day of. So we're going to go through those during this section. We have a really nice tool called Fast Registration, and Fast Registration lets you skip certain information fields and options when you're signing up. And so the screenshot here is showing that I've set up Fast Registration for only on event day. So when somebody goes to my website the morning of the race, they are going to skip a bunch of fields when they're signing up. So like an example would be like, maybe I want people to skip fundraising. I don't want them to be asked to become a fundraiser when they're signing up at the event, because they're not going to have the time to fundraise. I just want to get them signed up and through as quickly as possible. And you're going to be able to set this up by different parameters. I like by date range just because it's really clear, like I can have this fast registration happen on these dates, no matter how you're getting to my website. You can also say that you can only register fast with a specific URL. So like people who are signing up at their homes have to become fundraisers, but people who are signing up with the QR code with the fast registration URL on site are going to skip that step. So you have control over how that's going to work. One of the reasons that I think fast registration is nice is because people have gotten so used to like doing things on their phones and also using QR codes. Last year, we added this option to create QR codes and quick text links so that people could easily sign up on site. I've seen a lot of events do creative things where they'll like print out signs with the big QR code. For peer-to-peer fundraising events, these QR codes could go to other pages as well. We have options to go to the donation page so that people can donate on site. There's options for them to go to results, but you'll want to make it clear that people can sign up by scanning the QR code and registering. This is really powerful for on-site registration because you're not creating lines like people are doing it on their own devices. A lot of people are comfortable signing up and buying things on their phones because their credit card information is already saved. And it's just a very easy and free option for your event to manage. So just to quickly show you, this would be like an example of what this would look like at your event. And so people are just going to take their camera and they're going to be able to scan that, and that's going to take them right into the registration path. Again, you can have that go to different URLs, and the quick text, people can send that code to this number and they'll get that URL to sign up themselves. That's nice if you're doing announcements, you can tell people how to sign up rather than reading out a URL. So this is a great way to handle on-site registration. Another option for on-site registration is a feature we built that is literally called on-site registration. So you can search for that in your dashboard and enable it from your dashboard. And on-site registration, I think, is nice if you do want to accept cash payments, but it does require people signing up from a device where the on-site registration has been enabled. So I'll just quickly show you how this works on my phone because we have this up. But basically, I have to enter in a password because I don't want just anyone being able to say that they paid with cash. So like, think of this as like I'm the head volunteer or event director. So I'm going to enter the password that I set up in my dashboard for this event. And what this is going to do is it's going to make it really fast for people to sign up. So you'll see I'm not required to like create an account or anything as I am signing up for this event. One of the things that you will want to always include, though, is going to be date of birth. And I think this is important. Like, if you, I wasn't born in 81, but if you are timing your event, you're going to want to make sure you have date of birth for age group results. Gender, you can also include non-binary, so we do have that option if your event chooses to enable it. And then we'll just choose an event that I want to sign up for. And this is like what the person is doing while they're on that shared device. They're entering in their information. You're not having a volunteer input it, so that person is like entering their information, obviously. And then this is the place where if I want to enable cash payments, so I came up, I have $30 to pay for this. The volunteer is going to enter that cash password and apply it. And so now I don't have that option to enter a credit card here. I just confirm payment and my registration has gone through. So that means that in my in my participant report, I'm going to see that was a cash offline payment for $30. And so you'll be able to reconcile that with like the cash that's on hand at the event afterwards. I have this set up to automatically give me a bib assignment. So I can just assign a bib and we're ready to go. Again, I do think it's just easier to do QR codes and let people sign up by themselves. But if you are really set on being able to accept cash on site, or this is kind of how you've always done things and you want to continue doing them like that, on-site registration is a really powerful tool to be able to handle that from like a shared device. And it's nice because it just allows you to accept cash. All right, so we went through a bunch of stuff: pre-event communications, on-site check-in, on-site registration. So let's say you have a successful event and we're going to do post-event checklist. So there's a few things that I wanted to quickly highlight on this post-event checklist. The first thing is that results, if you're doing a timed event, I think this is really cool. We have a setting where you can feature fundraising progress on your results page. So that will feature your fundraising goal and a button to donate to your fundraising page. And it's just really, you know, promoting that your event is fundraising first. It's not just about results, but you kind of have that balance to appeal to like different types of people. Another really powerful thing to include for your peer-to-peer fundraising event are photos. We allow you to upload unlimited photos and organize them into different albums. If you are doing bibs, we have a really nice bib tagging system. So it's recognizing that number of the bib and it's automatically rolling those photos up to the individual that was assigned the bib. So when I go to my results page, I'm able to see a little album that is just photos of me from the event. So like having some kids from like high school, colleges that, you know, are passionate about photography and have decent cameras, you can just have them come out, volunteer to take photos and upload those photos in bulk to our platform, automatically show up on the results page. It's just a really nice personalized touch. You can also just have them in albums, and there's options to share on social media and to download. So it's really nice feature. I think it's really nice to send out a post-event email to thank people for attending. It's an opportunity to direct people to key links like their results and photos, and another opportunity to donate. In this sample email, you'll see that I am highlighting some of the sponsors. And then for nonprofits that are doing multiple events throughout the year, this post-event email is a really nice time to cross-promote, cross-sell your other events. So you can put in tickets to, or you can put in little designs that go to the websites for your other events, like a beer fest to buy tickets, or your end of year gala to buy tickets. So really leveraging that post-event email to send out key communications, both about the event and opportunities to engage with your nonprofit in the future. It's just free to do. You can set this up well ahead of the event and just schedule it to go out after the event is done, so that you don't have this burden to set this up when you're really tired after the event day is done. You can set this up ahead of time. One other thing I thought I would mention before we wrap this up, and I'll answer any questions, are fundraiser minimums. Some peer-to-peer fundraising events require that you hit a certain amount raised in order to participate. You do have to make sure that you are enabling the setting to save the credit card while people are signing up. So it's not something that you can do retroactively. We need people to opt in and understand that they will be auto-charged if they don't meet their minimum by a certain date. So you need to make sure when you're opening registration that you've got that planned out, you have that setting enabled, you've got your minimum set up. And then the way that we do fundraiser minimum auto charge is none of it is going to automatically charge people without you pressing a button. And we do that because you might have certain exclusions that you want to do, whether they are like manual, like I don't want to auto charge our key like sponsors or board members. We also give you options to exclude people that are on a team that met a team fundraising goal, for example. So once you have decided who you want to auto charge, you have that capability to do so. Our system handles it elegantly, so if somebody's credit card fails, they'll get a notification, and you'll be able to see that in your reports on the back end. But fundraiser minimums is another thing that you will want to manually take care of after your event has wrapped up. Again, I recommend like giving a bit of time after the event. I did the New York City Marathon this fall. I fundraised for Semper Fi and America's Fund. And like I posted some photos on Instagram like at the start of the event, and I got donations through the event. So make sure you're not like trying to auto charge on the event day. Like people have that energy and can still get donations. So you'll probably want to give it a little bit of time to extend when they can have until they have to meet their fundraising goal. But yeah, this report is where you're going to be able to filter who you want to charge and then do that action. So that's it for today. It was a lot of information that we covered. And I'm going to quickly see if we have any questions. You can enter them into the question box. And if not, we are going to send a recording of this webinar to you guys so that you'll have it along with the slides. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. We're really excited that we've been able to enhance our check-in app and you know, event day tools to really focus on giving the best technology and tools to peer-to-peer fundraising events. Whether you have a walk that's untimed and you've got a couple of people coming out, the check-in app is going to work for you. Or if you've got, you know, 20,000 people doing a really complex start with a bunch of different waves and corrals, this is also going to work really well for you. So a couple of questions that are coming in. Do you need to include gender and age, or can that be an optional setup for the event? That's optional, actually. You can skip that. The important thing that you'll want to just consider is if you are doing a timed event and you want to do age group awards, for example, you're going to want to make sure that you are just communicating with that with your timer. It's just about the data that they're going to have. But yeah, you can hide gender and age, or you can include it. And we also added the non-binary option so that you can have more options for people when they're registering. And yeah, I think that's it for questions. But thank you again for coming, and we'll follow up with more information after this. Thank you.
Okay, I blinked. I don't know how you do that. All right, well, thank you all for watching. If you'd like to see more videos from us, you can subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and then all. That'll get you alerts when we post new videos. As always, if you can click on the thumbs up button, we'd appreciate that. And we'll catch you next time. Impressive. Very impressive. Who's got next?